Well, now I'd like to introduce to you Allison Cooper. Allison Cooper runs JEDC Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math Programming. That's all part of our effort to identify what we think are critical skills for critical thinking that need to be supported in our state. And we run a program statewide called First Robotics, and Allison managed that program, and Allison has some information to share and a little treat for us tonight. Allison?
Good evening. Yes, so JEDC does indeed run the FIRST program in Alaska. So it's an international program, and we run it just for Alaska. We have teams all over the state. So we tournament in North Slope, Southeast, etc. So we have programs kindergarten through 12th grade. And so what you have here before you is some team from Juneau Douglas High School. I think we have, let's go ahead and run this video. This video was from a tournament that took place right here in December. Okay, so that's our younger program, very strong here in Juneau. But we're gonna let you take a look at what the high schoolers can do. I would imagine that these guys, I think all three of them were at that tournament in December. But JDHS has 7 teams now, so we're about 40 kids involved over there. And I'm going to let them tell you what it is they do. But actually, let's look at this video real quick. It gives you just a taste. Watch that no one's touching anything except there's we call a human player that's laying some things out to give the robot something to do.
Robot. Okay, Capital City Dynamics, quick out of the box. You got their sample moving into the observation zone. Got a specimen on the high chamber. Coming over with the second specimen to put there. Coming over with a third specimen on the high chamber. Fourth specimen on the high chamber. Can they do number 5? Fifth specimen. Pickles getting number 1 and 2. And Cyberdyne getting a parking into observation zone.
Okay, these guys were the clear winners in Southeast, and they did fantastic job at the state championship. This is 12087, Capital City Dynamics. Please let us know what it is you did.
Okay, is this thing on? Okay. Hi, we are Capital City Dynamics, robotics team from Juneau Douglas High School. As Allison was saying, we just got back from our state competition, winning second place in judging and in robot performance. We are also going to be attending an FTC premiere event this summer, which is probably farther than any Juneau Douglas team has gone. Let me talk a little bit about just the FIRST program and FTC. FIRST is a program that teaches kids how to build robots and solve fun engineering problems. You saw the FLL video where kids, elementary school kids, are building robots. We're of the high school division where we're playing a game and solving a fun challenge just to, learn more about robotics and learn more about engineering. I'm going to pass it off to Carson, who's going to talk about the robot we have here.
Great, thank you. So this year, every year there's a new challenge for the high school division, and we build a completely new robot to tackle that challenge. This year specifically, we had to pick up samples that look like this. So if you put that on the ground. We had to pick up these, which we can do with the robot like this. And deliver them to several places around the field, put them in baskets. You saw in the video, hanging them on hooks, that sort of thing. So if you bring it over to her. Like that. There you go. So that's a little of what a robot can do. If you notice these wheels, they're very special. Not only do they go forward and backwards, but because they have special wheels all the way around, they can go side to side, diagonally, any which way. The downside of this, and something we had to work around, was because they have wheels all around them, they slip a lot, which makes it hard to predict where the robot is on the field for portions where we're not in control. So on the bottom, we have special that just keep track of where the robot is. So that's pretty cool. Another thing we have on our robot are these slides forward and backwards, which you saw in action just a second ago. These let us get a lot of range, reach all around the field. Each one has a motor that controls it specifically, and then each arm individually has its own 2 servos, one for the rotation and one for the claws on the end. I'm going to pass it off to Elias, and he's going to talk a little bit about how we give back.
All right, so one of the skills I've picked up from participating in robotics is how to problem solve, just learning how to solve problems. On our claws specifically, we had to do a lot of problem solving and iterations to get them to work properly and efficiently. Another part of our robotics program at First is it's not just about robotics, it's also reaching out into the community and giving back, helping younger generations and new robotics members. So as was mentioned previously, we have 6 other teams at our school, so we do a lot working, just collaborating with other teams, learning how to use new tools and helping other teams. So I really enjoy that aspect of robotics. For the competition that we competed at a couple weeks ago at state, part of the competition is throughout the year doing some outreach into the community. So we've done that, reaching out to younger generations at STEM nights at elementary schools, mentoring Lego robotics teams like what you saw in the video. In addition to that, we also reach out to professionals in the STEM and engineering community. We've done a lot of outreach through Discord, talking to professionals at GoBuilda, which is a company that produces many of the parts on our robot to integrate new pieces onto our robot, and collaborating with other teams to develop new programs to control our robot. I'll pass it back off to Carson.
Yep. So, as Isabel mentioned, we're going down to a premiere event in the lower 48 later this year, and we're going to need more money to upgrade our robot, travel fees, that sort of thing. So there's the QR code on the screen. Any donation is great, but we're really here just to get the word out, talk about first how we're training new engineers and how we're collaborating in the engineering world. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. They will have some of their some of their material that will be out at our table. It's right outside the door, and they agreed to let me hang on to it for tomorrow. So if you want to poke your head out there and take a look at what they've got, you're welcome to do that. Okay.
Well, we have a slight change in plans this evening just to accommodate just the real world events that are happening. And so we are going to move forward with the pitch competition now, and then we're going to do our Innovators Hall of Fame after the pitch competition. So that means that I get the opportunity to introduce Huckleberry Hopper, who is from Center Ice. Every year we have a pitch contest, and we allow people to apply from around the state, and we can't do it without great partnerships. And Center Ice is an excellent partner for our organization, and specifically the assistance of Huckleberry. So please welcome Huckleberry to the stage.
Okey doke. Hello. Hey everyone, welcome to the pitch contest. I'm gonna be fairly short with my introductions, but I am Huckleberry Hopper, and I got a clicker and all this good stuff. Oh, that's me. Yeah, how serious I am. So I work for Alaska Center Ice, and I've been helping out for the with the pitch contest this year. And what you're going to see over the next hour or so is a bunch of really, really smart people who are putting their hearts completely out on the line. So we are going to be doing a competition later, but first we need to understand the rules of what our competition is going to be. And I want to give a quick shout out to JEDC for putting this on every single year, even during COVID. That is pretty dang hard to do. Those are our judges, but we'll get there in a second. So for this competition, I want to kind of lay the groundwork of what we're doing here. So we have 5 entrepreneurs who are working on a whole variety of projects, but they have been working on these diligently for a long time for each of them. And they're going to be standing in front of you today, trying to present both their problem and their solution, but also what their plan is to be able to build their business going forward. Now, that means you have to say what you believe. You have to put your money out there and online. For a lot of them have invested a lot of their own savings, which, as we all know, is terrifying to do. And they also have to public speak, which is also terrifying to do. Now, on the other side of that, we have judges and a People's Choice Award, which we'll talk about here in a second. But first, because our judges are also really smart and really successful, I would like to introduce each of them. So we have 5 judges tonight. We have Evelyn Jacome, Eric Dye, Dr. Peter Webley, Henry Lloyd, and TJ, and I'm going to butcher your last name, I'm sorry, Hedgedus. Each of them has decided to take time out of their day to join us and to listen to our pitches. Now, so let's start with Evelyn. Besides being the nicest person that I think I know, Evelyn is passionate about entrepreneurship and innovation. She has worked in several businesses internationally, working both in London and Ecuador, including sustainability, forestry, microfinance, and seed funding for early-stage entrepreneurs. She's also a professor of entrepreneurship at UAA and a project manager for the Small Business Innovation Research Program at Alaska Center Ice. Now, we're going to practice something together. Could we start giving applause for Evelyn real quick? And cut. Good, you guys got it. Next, we have Dr. Peter Webley. Dr. Webley holds a PhD, I know this guy. He holds a PhD in remote sensing and has over 15 years of experience in geoscience, and remote sensing as both a scientist and researcher. Now, the thing about Peter is that he specializes in making operational and real-time applications and going out of his field and building entrepreneurial centers. Peter is also the interim director of Alaska Center Ice and has been a personal mentor to just about every entrepreneur in the room. So let's give another round of applause for Peter. And cut. Beautiful. All right, fine. Erica Dye. Erica is a results-driven professional with strong financial analysis skills and a proven track record in sourcing investment opportunities. If you want to develop your business and then be and grow, you go talk to Erica. She is currently the project manager at Generator, focusing on developing people like them, our entrepreneurs who are going to be pitching, and her experience spans entrepreneurship, management, and community service. What you'll know about Erica is that she works really, really hard, both as a volunteer and as a person in the community starting the startup ecosystem. So a round of applause. Okay. Okay, I'm not going to do that to you again. It's more for me at this point. So let's go into our Juneau judges. So we have TJ Hedges. Sorry, TJ. He's a dynamic risk analyst with experience at the Alaska Permanent Fund Corporation. He has a background in trading and investment strategies, having interned at both Liverfield Capital and Integrity Wealth Advisors, where he developed analytical skills and has contributed to financial planning and research initiatives. He also knows a lot more about London than he looks. It's a cool thing. All right, finally, Henry. Henry also works for Alaska Permanent Fund Corporation as an investment analyst, and he has also worked at Old 300 Capital. I got that right? Okay. Specializing in acquisitions and asset management. He's previously also worked in asset management, and as an undergrad assistant, he went to the Texas Combs School of Business, where he earned a BBA in real estate finance. All right, we got them both together, so let's do a proper round of applause. Okie doke. Now, our judges are going to be sitting on one side of the table. They have a tough job because they have to analyze the companies and decide who is going to take the prize ultimately home at the end of the pitch contest. Now, the question behind that is, like, how do you analyze the quality of a new business? Like, if this is kind of like a nebulous thing because they don't have new data, they're early on, they have new data. But ultimately for us, when we're exploring this, we want to explore 3 different ideas, or 2 different ideas, and then for the competition, we have 1 additional. We're trying to understand how well our founders understand their problem space. So, like, it's pretty hard to find a large, unfounded problem. But so we're going to be judging them and analyzing their businesses based on how well they've done that ask. And then within that, we're also going to ask them for proof. So this is the validation aspect of our pitch. We're saying, okay, so you say you found this problem in the marketplace. Like, how do you know? Like, have you done interviews? Do you have revenue? What evidence do you have of actually being able to grow your business from this position to where you believe and where you're arguing to us that you've actually built it forward? Now, that's the problem exploration side. Think of that as like mining and trying to understand if you found something. The second part, and the really, really, really tricky part, is how do you actually build a business model around that? How do you take a problem that you found and that you believe you have evidence that you found and then scale it up? So in their pitches, we're both going to hear their identification of their problems and what they believe in, probably down to their cores. And then we're also going to see what their proposed plan is to solve that problem. Now, finally, this is a pitch competition. So we're judging them on their problem, their solution, and then finally, their presentation persuasiveness. Now, our judges have a very fancy rubric, which I've made far too long for them to read at any given moment, but it will help them kind of explore the space and who they decide they want to select as the ultimate winner of today's competition. Now, this is a pitch competition with 2 prizes. First, there's the judge's choice. So those 5 people there will come together, and then they will decide on who they choose. But then there's also the people's choice. Now, there is a prize pool where we each get to buy tickets and ultimately support our founders, and you get to vote what you believe is your favorite pitch with your dollars. So we have 3 ways of doing it, which I'm sure they've all kind of like beaten your brow to death with this. But there's a way to do cash, there's a way to do a QR code, And finally, if you want to do this, you can use local frequency to help fund who you believe is your favorite entrepreneur. We do accept thousands, hundreds, tens, whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm not going to judge you. Now, next point. If you do buy an additional ticket, you get a drink with it. And if you buy 2 extra, they'll probably give you a heavy pour. So just consider that. No pressure, but I just wanted to give you the option. Okay, so I want to take a moment and recognize the sponsors of when you think about all of the logistics that go into this, you need a lot of people who are working behind the scenes who are not necessarily recognized all the time, and then you need a lot of money. So I would like to thank Kensington Mine, AELNP, Alaska Seaplanes, and the ALJ Redfield Certified Public Accountants. Now, without them, we wouldn't get a platform for people who are building new things to be able to be up here and pitching to all of you today. Are you guys tired of me talking at this point? No? Oh, thank you. All right. So, well, we're done. I'm done talking anyway. So, these are going to be our pitches for the day. I'm not going to spend much time talking because I won't do a good job. They're going to do a good job. But I would like to first applaud all of the entrepreneurs for the work they've done. We've worked together over the past couple weeks putting together a deck, and it's kind of like going up to karaoke but having to write your own song, and then have to sing your own song with no acoustic backup. So it is a labor of love, and if anybody is disrespectful to my entrepreneurs, I'm going to make you come up here and sing Celine Dion. So does that sound fair? Cool. All right. Now here's how this is going to work. Each entrepreneur is going to have 10 minutes, and they're going to come up on stage. They're going to have 5 to 6 minutes to do their pitch. And as soon as they finish their pitch, the judges are going to immediately pick up a mic, and they're going to ask them really difficult questions. Now, if the entrepreneur goes over 6 minutes, I'm going to sneak up behind them and cut them off. But unfortunately, we don't have time for both judges and for people to ask questions, so we're going to be at 10 minutes flat for each and every person. Hold on, my mom's calling me. Okay. When that happens, the judges will ask the question, and they will come back, and then we will move on. We will keep it clean, and we will keep it fast. Does that make sense to everyone? All right. Cool. Let's get this party started, shall we? And with that said, I would like to welcome our first founder, Virginia Peterson. Woo-hoo! There you are. Enjoy.
I'm going to come over here. Can I talk into this thing?
You can talk wherever you want.
Okay, I'm not going to use this one. I'm going to just talk here. Can everybody hear me? Okay, all right. I'm sure, judges, you haven't heard this pitch before, so let's do it. So, my name's Virginia Lynn Peterson. I'm the founder of Swoop, and I created a lifestyle apparel brand designed by a nurse for life on the go. There we go, got it. Okay, so my background is actually in emergency room nursing, and I'll never forget the day I was in the trauma room doing compressions, doing CPR, and my bra failed me. So for all the guys in the room, what that basically means is my body parts weren't where they were supposed to be as I was trying to do compressions. I was super distracted on my patient care and more concerned about me, my discomfort, and I was pretty embarrassed about the situation. And when I walked out of the trauma room that day, I said, this will never happen again. And that's when it sparked the idea to make my own bra. But when I started designing that bra, I just started thinking, this isn't necessarily just a me issue, that there's women everywhere juggling work, adventure, and life, but they're stuck choosing between comfort, function, and style. So I created Swoop because Swoop can do all three. Our apparel is designed to look just as good at the end of the day as we do at the start of the day. So we've created all-day apparel that combines comfort, style, and transitions from work to adventure. From our best-selling bras and our super popular tunics, we listen to what our customers want, and they want more. So in 2025, we made the leap to start expanding into the athleisure wear and lifestyle market. And I didn't know a ton about that market, but when I started diving in and looking at the numbers, man, it's a pretty big market. So in the global athleisure and lifestyle apparel market, it's worth over $662 billion, with the US women's athleisure and healthcare apparel market at $100 billion. So what does that mean for Swoop? If we can just capture 0.01% of the US market, and just the US market, that'll translate to a 10 million opportunity within the next 5 years. We're on track to hit 600,000 in revenue in 2025, and we're gonna do that by expanding our product lineup and continue scaling our e-commerce and try to move some of this outside of Alaska. Our growth is also fueled by a 33% repeat customer rate through our website, and that's just through our website, not through our in-person markets. Our 12,000 super engaged email subscribers and our 10,000 super dedicated and very interested social media followers. So sure, there is competition out there, but Swoop stands out and checks all of the boxes. So first, we're nurse founded, and no one knows 12-hour comfort better than a nurse does. Our clothes are built for comfort and function. And 3, our clothes look great without any extra effort, so you don't even have to think about it. And while other brands use models, we showcase real women, nurses, adventurers, go-getters, because we design our clothes for them, not for photo shoots. We run a B2B and a B2C business model, so we sell online, in person, and through select wholesale partnerships like REI. And moving forward, we're super focused on scaling our e-commerce and again, expanding outside the state of Alaska. And the reason, forgot this slide. So team is me, Virginia Lynn Peterson. My background is actually in epidemiology and nursing until I started this business 5 years ago, and now I'm an entrepreneur. We just brought on a marketing director that has tons of big brand experience, and Holly, probably one of the most important person in the back of the house who gets our orders out and helps with our inventory management. And so I keep saying this about moving outside of the state of Alaska because Alaska has really proved itself to be a win for us. In 2024, 90% of our revenue came from within the state of Alaska. So over the next 6 months, we'd like to expand outside of the state and target trade shows, which is what I would use those Alaska airline tickets for, and to grow our B2B partnerships. We'd like to really hire like a sales team to help us with that B2B growth. And then towards the end of the year, or as we start to grow, we'd like to bring on an actual product designer to expand our product line and explore angel funding opportunities for research and development and scaling. And by the end of year 2, we'd really like to secure national retail partnerships across the country, and again, continue to expand our line while diving into our bestsellers. We're scaling quickly, and we're looking for strategic support to take Swoop to the next level. My background is in nursing, it's not in business, and I can use all the help that I can get. So we're looking for people looking for retail experts, e-commerce strategists, angel investors, and to help scale Swoop to a national brand. So if you have any thoughts or suggestions, I'd love to hear them. And then, of course, you can always follow, like, and subscribe. Sometimes it's just the littlest things that help a brand go a really long way. And if you see something you like, you can buy it. And if you're a guy, you can buy it for your girlfriend, your wife, your daughter, or some other female person in your life. I'm sure they would like it. If you want to learn more about us, you can tune in tomorrow, NPR podcast, How I Built This. I'll be on there with Guy Raz asking him some questions. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Judges.
How'd I do?
You did great. I'm gonna add 15 seconds.
Okay. Easy questions, please.
We're live. Thank you for the presentation. We
Yeah.
appreciate you being up in front of us. And as Huck said, it's not easy for some people to present, so we appreciate, especially in these bright lights. So hopefully you can see me with the spotlights on you. You obviously have a background from the medical profession and the time and the experience of working long shifts. Have you spoken to other industries which have similar environments where you're on your feet for a long period of time, an active job that they're going through and the challenges they have, to see if they also have a similar challenge and a similar need? Obviously, you've spoken about your nursing background, but are there other industries you've spoken to?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm going to say observation, not researched. How's that? I would assume anybody that's on their feet, military people in particular, I've had a lot of conversations with them about how they experience the same kind of problems. For me, being in the nursing world and just like our market research has been very nursing oriented at this point in time. Of course, as we take this to the next level and we do more formalized inquiries into who this product would be for, we would definitely include other people who are on their feet for long periods of time.
Thank you for your presentation. So I'm a little bit more curious about your competition, and obviously right now you're not competing directly with, you know, bigger retailers, but right now, who is your current competitor?
I would probably say our biggest competitor right away is probably Ewer. They're out of Montana. They had a similar structure to us where we used to manufacture. We spent the first 3 years manufacturing solely in Alaska, and then 2024 was big for us. We started sourcing our product line, which helped us in a lot of ways, and it really helped with that wholesale piece to it. And so Ewer is kind of a lifestyle brand, and I'd say our products are somewhat aligned, if you're familiar with them. And they're about the same. They're bigger than us. We're kind of catching up, but they're a bigger brand than us. But that's probably who I'd like to mirror a little bit.
Going back to your market size, why 0.1% of that overall market?
Yeah, for sure. So you mean why don't we capture more? Yeah, absolutely. So I think, you know, and I'm going to give you the very honest answer. When I started this brand and I started seeing the success behind it, I was like, ooh, I think we can hit 100,000. Ooh, I think we can hit 400,000. And then this last year, my goal has been to hit 1 million. I'm like, I want to hit 1 million in revenue. Well, then all of a sudden when I started, and I'll be honest, it was this pitch that did it. All of a sudden I started running the numbers and I was like, are you kidding me? That's diddly squat. I'm like, man, we can take this to the next level. I think Alaska has really proved that to me, that if we start to target 2, 3, 5 states and do as well as we do in Alaska, it's going to be a no-brainer that we can take this to be a $10 million business.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Woo. Thank you.
We spent a lot of time talking about design and trying to understand how little I know about actually clothing brands, and Virginia has been probably one of the most fun people that I've ever worked with. So let's give another round of applause for Virginia. Bravo. Well, thanks for starting us off. Up next, we have Keith Cox with BioLoom Technologies. Keith, come on to the stage. You guys want to hear a poem I wrote while we wait? No? Okay. Take it away.
How do I advance the slides here?
It'll transition for you.
What do you mean it'll transition for me? Push this button?
Yep, green button.
The green button. Okay. How are you guys doing? My name's Keith Cox, and I am here to tell you a story about BioLoom Technologies. We're a Juneau-based company, and I'm going to tell you about how BioLoom Technologies is going to change the future of everyday biomarker monitoring. Biomarkers are just measures of biological change. That's all it is. It happens in plants, animals, trees, lakes, human bodies. We're measuring biological change. That's all we're doing. One that hits home a little closer to me and why I'm here. This is my father. He died of congestive heart failure about 4 years ago. And they did not test him for the biomarker for congestive heart failure until he became symptomatic. So then he went to the doctor and they started treating the symptoms. And this generally occurs across the board. If you look at aquaculture situations or crops or cows or your pets or anything, usually the biomarker is not measured until the thing is dead or symptomatic. And there's better ways to do that. And people know that, and people are looking for that, and people are craving that. And so the problem is people are looking for ways to monitor biomarkers. Wouldn't it make sense to monitor congestive heart failure biomarkers before the symptoms even appeared? And so there's a need to do this, and people realize that. But the current methods are slow. They involve immunoassays and biochemical reactions and radioisotopes, and they're using these complex methods to measure these biological changes. And so our solution is to use bioimpedance to do this. We're using electricity. It's faster, it's cheaper, it's accessible, and it's easier. And we have space. We've been in this space before. We have another company called CQ Foods, and we developed, here's my Steve Jobs moment. We developed a small little device right here. You touch it to perishable foods, and it tells you how that biological tissue is changing, whether it's been heat abused or degraded or put on ice. We can measure those biological changes using electricity. You can hook this up to a test cassette and do that. And that's exactly what BioLume Technologies is doing. We are simply upgrading our system. We have a handheld unit. We want to be able to expand the frequency ranges. We want to make a better user interface on our mobile app. We need to upgrade our databases. We want to have more AI integration that can give feedback on all levels of these measurements. And that's where we want to go with this. And so we use electricity to measure these biomarkers in an accessible way that we can plug it into anything. And when we look at our market opportunity, we eventually want to end up at the consumer place. That would be great if everybody was measuring biomarkers at home and then that information was going straight to a patient portal at your physician's office. That would be ideal. But we want to establish a beachhead in fisheries. Fisheries is where I've been for a while, and we already have electronic biomarkers for fish in that space. And so we want to move from the fishery space into aquaculture, then into ag, veterinarian diagnostics, human health, and then eventually end up on the consumer level. And we do see that the market research shows that the global biomarker market projections are increasing. People are wanting this. And we do see this within our other company. You know, our other company, we've averaged about $200K annual revenue. We're expecting to double or triple that this year. We've sold our food device to 25 universities around the world. And when I ask them through surveys on why they want this, they want to monitor living organism biomarkers, because it's simpler and it's easier than using the traditional methods that are out there. We've applied to 2 SBIR grants. We passed a phase 0. We're waiting to hear on those. You guys know that the grant stuff is kind of all over the board right now. And also, this isn't like a, how do you say it, Theranos? We are not a Theranos company. Bioimpedance, if you look up Google Scholar and type in bioimpedance and congestive heart failure or anything, there's over 60,000 articles using bioimpedance to monitor different biomarkers. So, of course, there's competition out there. This is the competition space for our beachhead. There are other companies that are using electricity in the same way, but none of them are connected like we are. That's what differentiates us from everybody else. It's a standalone desktop unit is pretty much what they are. A revenue model, it's pretty simple. Subscription model, $200 per month or $2,000 per year. It supports all the software, the AI integration, and all the stuff that goes in behind the scenes. The team that's doing it, I'm one of them. I'm a pretty good dancer, but that doesn't help much, but I have a PhD in physiology and bioimpedance. Dr. Pedro, he came onto our team. He's got a PhD in medical physics, electrical engineering. He's published 100+ articles in biosensors and bioelectricity and using them in these different situations. This is a different slide, but Carter, he's in town right now. He's our computer science CTO guy, and so he is looking at these upgrades. The rest of the team is support mechanisms. Our execution plan, pretty simple. Next 3 months, we would really like to get, is that 6 minutes?
6 minutes.
No way.
Judges' questions.
Okay, we'll go to judges' questions. I'll skip to the very end, though. There's the closing right there. So we want to get into those and then look for some mentorship so we can move into the next space.
Thanks for coming to talk to us tonight. I was curious about what the regulatory hurdles look like moving from fisheries to humans, as you mentioned in the next stages of the business.
There are FDA clearances and medical device clearances, and so the chip that we're using in the electrical stuff we're using is a Class 2 medical device, and that's kind of standardized, but that would be part of the operation plan when we move into the medical space, into the clinical space. That's another reason why to start in fisheries and ag and things like that, because those hurdles are not there right now for those type things. There are some the IUCUC stuff, because I was a professor at the university, but we're not harming the animals in any way so that we bypass anything like that.
So, great presentation for how long it was. My question is, we live in a world right now where, we increasingly can get our hands on lots of data, but important to that is having a solution for the data. And in going into a market, you need to usually either be making someone money or helping someone not lose money. Could you walk us through a real case, hands-on scenario of a company that is either losing money and this device is saving that money, or vice versa?
So Kenny Lum was the vice president at Trident Seafoods, and we worked a lot with him. And he kind of said something that stuck in my head. He said, I don't need more data. I need to know what to do with that data. And so then that got me researching, and I'll get to your thing. Harvard Business School came up with a data circle. And if you don't act on that data in order to make yourself better or make money, the data flow stops. And so to answer your question, seafood companies, well, I guess a better example is the chicken industry, the poultry industry. They had a problem of a muscle myopathy called woody breast syndrome. And if you have a chicken breast that has like collagen fibers in it, it makes for a bad product, it gets rejected, and then consumers won't buy that product anymore. They came to us and they said, hey, we heard you're making biomarkers, electronic biomarkers. We partnered with Auburn University. We developed a biomarker to detect woody breast. They implemented this in their plant, and they were monitoring the post-harvested chicken breast as they went down the line, and then they were making changes upstream. And they had a 25% prevalence of woody breast. Then they started monitoring, they changed the feed habits, they changed the lighting structure, and it went from 25% down to 3%. And so we really saved them a lot of money. And so there's similar stories like that in seafood, and handling practices, which ones work best, do the suction tubes hurt the fish, et cetera, et cetera.
I know we didn't get a chance to see the previous slide, but how your timeline for the next 3-6 months, very briefly, and how would winning this pitch competition will support that?
Am I allowed to go back?
Yeah, go back.
I'm going back.
Got it.
I'll fight you
30
for
seconds, go for it.
Okay.
I'm delaying you, go.
3 months, we want to get into a mentorship program. I've always learned from mentors, everything that I do. And so we really want to have a new set of eyes, look at our ideas, our concepts, help adjust our executable plan. We want to develop quotes for our upgrades, and look at different ways to sell it, whether we're using resellers, housing our own sales team, or using distribution. At 6 months, we want to start implementing these upgrades. And like I said, we've already built it, so we already have an idea how we just need to take this up to the next level. After that 6 months, we want to have all of our upgrades ready and start selling. There's people that already want it. I got an email yesterday from a guy in Australia that wants to measure sharks. you know? And so if we had a little bit more, we could start selling to that market space.
Bravo. Cheers.
Yep. Yep.
One thing you'll know about Keith when you start talking to him is that he knows about a lot of stuff. And when he talks about knowing bioimpedance, he's being humble, because I've read like 3 of his publications, and he has like 30 to 40 plus publications. So he knows what he's talking about. All right. You know, it's funny. You also made a segue with birds, and the next founder that we're going to listen to is just about all about birds. So please welcome David Souter.
I have to follow all that talk about birds. Hello, my name is David Sauter. I own 49th State Birds. It's a local poultry farm and hatchery located in North Pole, Alaska. We focus on solving problems. Our current problem that we're looking at is for the birds, seaweed for bird feed. Over the past 7 months, I've engaged with many people through my fellowship with UAF. I was coached really well through my time in Regional I-Corp. I achieved well over 40 independent customer stakeholder interviews. I've learned a lot of important things. 2 things I want to highlight. First and foremost, in the kelp industry, despite current low sales, they have a massive, massive potential capacity for production, okay? And in the agricultural industry, I learned that a lot of small farmers, hobbyists, homesteaders, they're willing to pay a little bit more money for a feed that provides measurable, trackable benefits. They want better flocks. How do these 2 industries relate? Well, kelp and the poultry industry absolutely lack infrastructure in Alaska. There's nothing there to support them, okay? Both industries have processing issues. The kelp industry cannot process what they're producing, and no one can process birds effectively to sell them commercially, okay? Both industries are riddled with extremely high costs. Our solution, seaweed for bird feed. It provides better health for your birds, and it provides better eggs for you. Okay. The solution is able to be replicated in Alaska, and it relies on community networks of stakeholders engaging with each other to create efficiency in local markets. When planning and communicating smoothly, producers will be motivated to sow more seed. When more seed's sowed, there's more product available to address food security issues. There's more product available to produce more things at lower costs that promote more development. Our target market includes small producers, hobbyists, people that have pet birds, homesteaders. Might not be a big secret. That's most of what Alaska is. So for the markets, I calculated my SOM by looking at just small poultry operators in interior Alaska, and I came up with about an $860,000 market there. In all of Alaska, there's a $4.7 million market available. Did I hit the right button? I didn't. Sorry about that. Alaska has near future potential capacity to produce 2,000 tons per year of sugar kelp. However, recent annual sales have been less than 500 all 3 years. I have a price variance within the unit costs due to the unknown absolute quantity of kelp I will be placing in my feed. There's a variance in that, and I have health considerations. I don't want to hurt birds. That's why I have a variance in my my profit margins. Right now, I'm looking at potentially 9.4, all the way up to 22 or 23.3% profit margins. The revenue model depends on low overhead, lean production, and local efficiency among producers. This creates small networks of people engaging together and growing together. My path forward involves focusing on sample analysis, formulating, and mapping the markets to find efficiencies. I hope to begin life cycle testing and bringing this product to the market in the next 2 years. Team members. My team consists of me. I'm the lead. I'm an MBA student at UAF. I have a background in accounting, finance, and obviously poultry. My mentor is Dr. Kim McGinnis. She's a professor at UAF's College of Business and Security Management. And finally, I want to thank everybody for listening to me. I want to thank Huck for his sound guidance. I want to thank Center Ice for all my opportunities. I want to thank all my stakeholders who engaged with me, who answered the call, who had several conversations that advanced this. I couldn't do any of it without anybody. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out here. First question is, if this were to be successful in Alaska, do you see any other markets that you could expand to outside of the state?
I would like to think so. Right now in our current state, it's not viable. The marginal cost difference in implementing that kelp on a massive scale will turn a lot of people off. Currently, bags of poultry feed goes for about $18 to $24 in the lower 48, and we're looking at putting like $6 to $8 of kelp in it. In the future, when there's market efficiencies, there's processing infrastructure, when they're in a better position to dry stuff and ship it out more effectively, that would be an excellent market to go into. Currently, a lot of people in the lower 48 pursue this, and they go to Iceland to get their product, which they're selling about $2 a pound on average after shipping.
Just for clarity, is this feed 100% seaweed, or is there another supply chain you'll have to set up?
So there's been little research on this. There was a study in the 30s, somebody researched it in the 70s, and there's a few trials in the 90s. There's no long-term trials or anything, but they did determine a common safe level about 4%. And from my understanding and through research, the considerations there are certain chemicals that are in the sea kelp, but there's also other things you could do to reduce it and reduce the impact. That's what I'm testing. I'm testing to see if it's beneficial to add more or to stick at that 4%.
Thank you.
Hi, Dave. Thanks for the presentation. So in terms of sort of accessing and access to the kelp, let's say, for example, the kelp industry was able to find other ways to use its excess product. How dependent are you on the kelp industry having that access to build this model?
I want to promote Alaska. If we can't get Alaskan kelp, we can get it cheaper outside. So that doesn't negate that. But I want to promote Alaska. That's what this is about. Also, they're utilizing like a fraction of a percentage of their potential capacity. I don't think that's going to be an issue anytime soon.
Thank you. My question is a little bit about some of the customer discovery that you did. How many interviews was it?
I unfortunately was conducting stakeholders with people that don't respond to formal stakeholder interviews. I've had a lot of unique experiences that were not planned. I've probably had in the ballpark of 60 independent interviews. Awesome. Several of them are redundant. There's some interviewees that I've had to reference several times for this.
Yeah, that's great. And so what portion of those was talking to the bird owner? Was that all with the bird owner?
I started probably the first dozen and a half interviews were with people related to kelp, and almost everything since then has been just poultry operators, people currently involved, people in the past involved, and people looking to get into it.
Mm-hmm. What is the biggest point of resistance? I mean, I don't know the poultry industry very well. What is the biggest hurdle that you see in adoption with something new?
So originally I thought it would be price, and I do see it as a premium because I'm a discount buyer. I am not my target market. So that was my assumption, but I've had plenty of stakeholders usually in the 50 bird or under range, telling me their overarching idea is to improve the health of their birds. And I actually had an unplanned interview last week where somebody came up to me and they were talking about how they do not feel comfortable buying what's in Alaska, although I think the Alaskan products are excellent. I use them myself. She didn't feel comfortable. She imports it from Oregon at about $45 a bag. So there's a lot of people going outside of Alaska to get better products for extreme premiums.
Awesome. Well, thanks for promoting Alaska. Thank you.
Any more questions? Oh.
I think these are Keith's glasses. I've known Dave for a minute, and what's funny about Dave is that he's actually a farmer, but he's also a guy that can build a financial model that can put most of us to sleep. And so if you ask Dave a unit economics question, he's going to walk you through a completely built out 6-tab Excel file. So when he says, this is the price of it, it's the price of it. So coming up next, we have Gabriel Lowe presenting to us remote hands. Let's give it a hand for Gabriel.
All right. Testing, testing. Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here. My name is Gabriel Lau, and I'll be, sharing our company Remote Hands. Grab our clicker. So let me start this with a story. This is the village of Quinnahock, Alaska. I worked there often as a STEM educator, and it's in western Alaska, as you can see. Now, this is Brian. He has a company, Beaded Stream, and his company has remotely deployed sensors. And he's responsible for maintaining these, but sometimes they go offline. A cable gets unplugged, something happens, it needs maintenance, and he has to fly out to Quinnahock and fix these. And he was sharing recently, he had to not go 1 or 2 times in the last year, but 5 times to do relatively simple tasks. Now, this is my former student, Peyton Henry. He's living in Quinnahock. He's about 20 years old. He is struggling to find job opportunities in Quinnahock, but he would love to make some connections. Now, hundreds of organizations have this problem across rural Alaska. I previously worked at the Alaska Earthquake Center. This is their network. Hundreds of devices that, when they go out, it's often really expensive to fly out and do things, and logistics headaches, can be dangerous even with rural travel. And it's often for simple tasks that really can be done by anyone. And then, of course, that untapped capacity in rural Alaska, and there's folks all over the place that are excited to live there in their communities, but there's a disconnect, right? And that's where our company Remote Hands comes in. We connect those organizations with local technicians, enabling that on-demand support that minimizes travel time, reduces operational costs, and streamlines efficiency. Now, my pitch today is focused on our Remote Hands for-profit business, and that provides that service to those organizations. But I want to point out, we have another business model. It is our workforce development, and we partner with a nonprofit organization to really invest in building, the training and components along with that. I'd love to answer questions, but I'm going to dig into what does our service look like. So we're a company like Beaded Stream, like someone else. Shoot, our sensor went down. Instead of having to go get tickets and figure out logistics, we'll go to the Remote Hands website or app and start a service request. We'll say, oh, this is where the sensor is. We'll put in the details. Like, do we need live video feed? We need to remote desktop in so we can be controlling the devices from afar. Add all those, get the quote for how much it's actually going to cost, press go, and then that request notification, you can imagine Lyft, Uber, kind of goes out, and available technicians will say, oh yeah, I'm in town that time, or they're out fishing and they'll not respond to it, right? But those technicians will schedule the service, go do the work, get, confirm services, get paid, and there's lower costs and fast response for the companies, local jobs for the technicians. Everybody is really, really happy. So what is our business model? You can think like what you do when you hire a plumber or an electrician, right? We're a service provider that we have our core service, visual inspection, basic troubleshooting. Guys, the amount of things that are unplug it and plug it back in, right? And people fly out to do that. So that's like our first focus with the hourly minimum. We have add-ons, remote desktop services, swap, install, equipment, transportation. They need to go somewhere on a boat. And then we also have a membership model that helps kind of continual revenue for us and discounted rates for our customers. What are our addressable markets? So we are an Alaska-focused company currently, and if we look at all the telecoms, energy, utilities, data collect, kind of infrastructure, research, we're looking at about a $750 market. And in the next year or two, we are focusing in on like a percentage of that, about $35 million. But we have the vision that we want to go from an Alaska-focused company to a global platform that can enable, just like Airbnb, that can enable these services across all areas, right, of the world. So what does our next 6 months look like? Onboarding for customers, right? Clients, learning about them, and then technicians doing pilot projects this summer. We're in some targeted regions with those pilot customers and projects. As we're doing that, service optimization, figuring out, okay, what can we do? How can we do it better? And then getting ready to launch this fall in fall of 2025. Quick competitive analysis. We've already kind of gone over this, but really our competitors are our own customers, right? It's them having to send out their own people, but we do it faster and more cost effective, and they're giving to the local economy. Where are we right now? We have pilot customers and technicians who are ready to go. We have a minimum viable product, a website that includes, logins, that service requests, all that type of thing. We have that nonprofit partnership that's ready to receive grants and donations to do that investment in building out our network and our launch plan. Now, I really just want to take a moment to appreciate and say this. I'm here because I'm an experienced Techstar startup weekend in Anchorage back in November that, I walked in as just an educator that's passionate about rural Alaska, and these incredible folks joined my team, and now I'm here in front of you. So thanks everyone to do that. Oh, I turned off the thing. Wait. Yeah, this is all what we need from you, your connections, really. So join us in revolutionizing the economy in rural Alaska with remote hands. Thank you. And yeah, Kyle, come on up, my co-founder. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabe. Great presentation. So you mentioned that your clients are your competitors because they're having to send them out. There are other tools out there we can use for like finding out the local plumber, finding out the local electrician. I think it's called Angie now, it was called Ask Angie. How are you going to build a process to know which is the right technician locally for the right job? Recommendations, how are you going to build it out? So you mentioned the Uber idea of somebody picks something off a list. How does the person like Brian Schumacher at Bearded Streams know they're getting the right person for the right job? While it is turning something on and off again, it's still walking up and turning something on and off again. So how do you know that you're getting the right person for the right job, even if the activity they're doing may not need the advanced degree?
Yeah, and thank you. And that speaks to how we choose and select, bring on our technicians, right? That speaks to a lot of things. I think our core business model is that kind of the baseline kind of being able to connect in, and we do background checks. We have references as technicians are onboarded. Really, in these communities, there are often a few people, like a handful, right, that are available and interested in doing this type of work. And it is really our business model, especially as we launch in Alaska, is based on relationships. Like they're in small villages, there are often not plumbers and electricians, right? That's why people are having to fly in. But we build those relationships, and that's where it comes from. But thank you.
Hi, thanks. I was curious about, you mentioned both the kind of one-off and subscription models. I was wondering what you expect the split to be between your customers, how many expect a technician just once a year, something like that, or more regularly?
I think most people are going to start off with the one-off one until they're like, oh, this is my third time using remote hands. It would have been cheaper if I got the subscription or got the membership already, so I'm going to do it. And that membership includes basically a free service call per month, and that's big, right? They might do that initially. Really, we are at the very beginning stages of this. We haven't even done our pilot, but we have, in the hundreds of interviews and conversations, everyone says, we need this now. And every day I'm learning about new industry. Today I was in a conversation that said forestry isn't, awesome. We're so ready, and that's what we need from you guys. All of you, please come tell us. We have so many business cards that we just printed 2 days ago, and we'd love to connect and learn. So thank you. Well, yeah.
Great presentation. Very much solving a problem here in Alaska. Going back to your statement about Alaska being very relationships driven, is it a concern at all, or is this a thought about your service providers eventually cutting you out of the relationship?
Great question. There are non-solicit kind of agreements that we can include in contracts with both technicians and clients that say, hey, don't use our same people outside of us. It's different than a non-compete, right? It's like, hey, and we encourage our technicians to do other jobs especially if they're local and outside of that. But non-solicit is kind of the answer there.
Thank you. One more question.
Super fast.
The team, and I see you're co-founder there. So you guys, tell me more about the team, and in short term, what's that going to look like as well? Tell me more about the team.
Yes. My background, STEM education, lots of relationships in rural Alaska, super passionate about just empowering folks, and I'll let, Kyle say your background, but
This thing's on. So I was a technician in my previous career, so I have the technician experience, and now I am a computer nerd, so programming, data stuff, so I'll be focusing on the application and the website and the connection piece.
Sorry, that's a hot mic. Gabe's like that all the time. If I were to travel the world with anybody, it would be Gabe. All right. How are we feeling? Good? Yeah? All right, let's close it up. Let's close it up for the day. For our final pitcher is Akta Patel with Adivo. Woo woo!
All right. Can everyone hear me? Yeah. Okay, my name is Ekta Patel, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Adivo, where tasks meet timeliness. So, Adivo is a on-demand mobile app that connects handyman taskers to homeowners, but in a real-time fashion. So the problem, let's say you have a broken light bulb or a door handle that's broken in your home. The problem is that big contractors are not interested in smaller jobs. So people, if they don't have the skills or the tools to do those jobs, they end up posting on social media, they use their referrals or cold call. But that's it. You just have to wait until somebody else is available for it to come to you and get that job done. This was very evident in 2023 when we had a massive snowstorm in Anchorage. There were a lot of people that posted jobs that said, saying that they want snow shoveling done, or they needed a snow removal. And on the flip side, we saw a lot of people that said, I'm available to do this. But there was no streamlined way to connect the two parties in real time. So that's when we sketched out the idea for Adivo to connect both parties in real time. This one. Okay, so the solution not only is customer friendly, but it's also a good solution for taskers. They can make themselves available on demand using a simple toggle function, and then they can turn any of their free time into cash when they're ready to work. And on the flip side, the customers can visibly see on the app who's available and what kind of skills they possess. So this is how it works. A customer would log in, and they can choose a category from which they can post. On the bottom half of the screen, they can see what kind of taskers are available and what kind of services they're providing. Once they post a task, they can start a communication with the, sorry, I should look over there. They can start a communication with the tasker and accept a quote. Once the quote is accepted, the journey starts, and the customer can track the tasker's journey, and once they arrive and start the job and complete the job, the payment is processed, you can view the receipt and rate the tasker. So how do we make money in all of this? So Adivo's main source of revenue will be a commission rate set at 20% for each job that is completed, and that is on par with the industry standard. In the future, we plan to introduce sponsored content and also possibly a subscription model, but I have not done much research on that, so we're going to leave that for the future. Traction to date, app is live, finally. App is live on the Apple Store, but we are also now starting a brand new version of the app, so we're pending approval for that. We're working on marketing, training videos, and whatnot. The demo video is available on our website, and I'll give you a QR code at the end so you can take a look at our website. And we are getting new taskers and new customers every day. Today, my Uber ride here, I told him about this in my 15-minute ride here, and he's like, yep, sign me up, where do I go? And then I signed him up. Lindsay Calloway, one of our first taskers, she's a professional home organizer by day, and then she wants to use Adivo to do other jobs. When she has free time. These are our runway milestones. We're going to launch in Q2 of 2025, modestly growing, 10 users, $1,000 revenue, and then slowly increasing. QR code there, but I'll present it a couple more times. This is our US market opportunity, our TAM, SAM, and SOM at 15% market capture. And then the formula that we used is at the bottom. But I want to present to you the market opportunity because we're launching in Alaska first, so I thought it was relevant to provide this as well. Same formula with the underlying assumption that each user uses the app at least 5 times a year with a $100 ticket. The competition, yes, there is competition. TaskRabbit, Handy, Thumbtack, Angie's, they're all there. However, TaskRabbit is not in Alaska, and during my customer discovery, we found that they don't like using the other options because they're just presented with people that are available, but not now. You don't know if they're going to respond to you in 24 hours, 48 hours, and whatnot. So we are allowing for real-time booking, journey tracking, and visually show you who's available now and is willing to take up the job, so you don't have to keep it pending. This is our core team. I'm Ekta Patel, and we're a dedicated team of 2. And I've worked on an app similar to this before. I've developed an app in the healthcare space that allows home health aides go into a client's home. So I have experience in doing this in the past. We are ready to bring Adivo to the on-demand economy to meet the rest of along with the rest of the on-demand platforms. We are recruiting. This does not work if you don't help us. Join us, join our wait list, become a customer, become a tasker. We want to see and prove that this is a good concept for Alaska. And this is just some screenshots of what people say. And so here's our QR code. We have a demo on our website as well, and we hope you join us. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. Great to hear where you're going and where you've come from. I guess my question sort of goes back to a couple of the others is you're going to be working with people putting in a request and then businesses selecting that request and taking that on. I guess my question then relates to how can you ensure for that customer that they're getting the most reliable individual and not somebody that's going to come in and cause an even greater issue. You meant about snow shoveling. There's people that can come in and snow shovel, and there's people that can come in and make it even worse, and you have to move the snow because they've shoveled it into a place that destroys something on your property.
Thank you for that question. That has been the biggest question that we've had, and one of the problems that we will have to face. This is a two-sided marketplace, and we will not be offering insurance to begin with. But after we're done with the beta testing phase, we will be offering a happiness pledge, just like our other competitors offer, where we would be having that insurance. So we would expect the two parties to try to figure it out themselves, but if not, we will then step in and address it case-by-case basis. In terms of how reliable are they, we will have rating. We will have them update their skills, also include references, and also background checks. And if they complete 5 successful jobs, we will then give them a badge of verified tasker. So this is how we'll slowly grow and do these. But initially, there will be no true way to attest if that person is, legit or not. Just like how people, fudge their resumes and get the job, and then they just wing it. So, yeah.
Thank you, Ekta. I guess one of my questions is about what is kind of you mentioned, was it 50 customers, 25 users, and you also mentioned snow plowing. What is kind of the lowest hanging fruit, first go-to market here in Alaska where you see the app being used most?
Well, if you had asked me last year, I would have said snow shoveling, but have you seen the weather? There is no snow in Anchorage, so we are still going to stick with outdoor services because again, with the whole vetting situation, we don't want people inside people's homes, right? Until we kind of grow. So we will stick to lawn mowing services or any outdoor, like broken fence, broken post, those type of services. If they feel comfortable, we'll let them do it. But in terms of promotion, we'll stick to outdoor services, and we're going into spring now, so.
Hi, thanks. I was curious about how you expect to see adoption and how taskers or qualified people would find out about it and join.
Yep. So as of right now, I have not done any marketing. So no social media marketing, no mass marketing. We have not spent any dollars on that. It's all done organically. I physically go into Lowe's, I go into Home Depot, walk around, talk to people. They think I'm stalking them, but I'm not. And I just organically strike conversations. I was in an Uber today. I struck a conversation. Anytime I'm in the public and amongst people, I talk about this idea and slowly, getting people to accept this. I do pitch competitions. I went to 1 million cups. And so I'm just putting myself out in the Anchorage market and Alaska market and promoting that way. But yes, we will have to eventually, do actual marketing, and we'll start with social media marketing, and then we're looking for somebody to join our team to help with those tasks as well. Yeah.
So I just downloaded your app. Tell me, how have you been able to fund? How have you been able to fund this project so far, and have you looked into more formal types of funding?
So did you ask how have I been funding this app? Bootstrapped 100% savings putting into this, yep. So we have not gotten a loan or any sort of investment. We've just bootstrapped so far. We are hoping, once we have some traction in terms of more revenue, at least get to a revenue generating position, then we will seek funding. Was that your question? Sorry.
To other sources of funding?
There's not yet, no. I have not looked into other sources of funding. We are working with some Native communities that they want to pilot this in their communities. So we might have some funding, and then we might do a pilot program. But with the government funding freezes and stuff, we're not 100% sure about that yet. Yeah. Is that it? Oh!
All right, folks. So we're gonna do our applause one more time. Nice job. All right. Well, thank you all the pitchers for coming to pitch. It goes faster than you think, right? Let's give another round of applause for the pitchers, hey?
As part of every Innovation Summit, we like to recognize the incredibly important role that arts play in creativity, and tonight is no different. We're really happy that we can help celebrate 50 years of Juneau Dance Theater, and we have Catherine O'Day from the Juneau Dance Theater, principal, instructor, and outreach coordinator. Please give a big round of applause for Catherine.
Hello, I'm Catherine. Oh, I don't need to read that. I was just introduced. Thank you so much, Brian Holst, for having us here tonight. We are honored to perform for everyone here. Juneau Dance Theater is a nonprofit dance school that offers professional level training in ballet. We have a competitive dance team, the JDT Fusion team, and we offer a variety of other styles of dance. We offer classes for young children as young as 2, all the way through adults. I believe our oldest student is approaching 80. What you'll see tonight is a sampling of a performance, a ballet about Ree Munoz and her artwork. This is a new work choreographed by Anna McDowell, a JDT alumni, and the music is by Dutch composer Julius Rankin, which is fitting, as Ree is Dutch. I'd like to thank Juan Munoz and for his generosity to use his mother's works for this, and for his hospitality at the gallery. Sit back and imagine a cold winter night in Juneau and the majestic northern lights. Thank you.
What an amazing and special treat. Thank you very much to the Juneau Dance Theater. Now we're going to, in our flexible agenda tonight, we're going to do something very important that we're really honored to be a part of every Innovation Summit, and that is to recognize the Innovators Hall of Fame. And I have the pleasure of introducing Dr. Brian Smetkowski, the Vice President and Chief Academic Officer of the University of Alaska. He's an accomplished leader and scholar in the fields of political science and educational development. Since 1993, he has taught and led strategic academic initiatives at numerous institutions, including, and most recently, the University of Idaho. A former editor of To Improve the Academy, he's a strong supporter and creator of post-secondary educational opportunities that improve the learning and the lives of all students and the communities and economies they serve. He is recently hired at the University of Alaska, been here, I believe, about a month. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Smetkowski to the stage.
Good evening, how you doing? Good. I want to say right out of the gate that it's a pleasure to join you here to recognize excellence and innovation in the state of Alaska, a state that officially became home to me exactly 1 month ago today. So obviously I know all things. I do not know all things, but I'm learning many things, and I want to begin with gratitude. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge everybody who's here this evening. But my trip here, my first to Juneau, has really been enriched by the time that I spent with Chancellor Palmer, who couldn't be here this evening, and her Vice Chancellor, Lori Klein. If you ever need a world-class campus community tour, talk to Lori Klein. She did something that so few people actually pull off. She represented in authentic and genuine terms what a true partnership between a campus and a community could look like. And in so doing, she helped me get into and experience and see and feel with every step and every word the learning spaces and places where current and future innovations occur. So my gratitude to all of the wonderful people at the University of Alaska Southeast. I cannot overstate my gratitude to all of them and to everyone that's been a part of this particular event. I want to thank my colleagues, Brian Holst, the Executive Director of the Juneau Economic Development Council, members of the State Committee on Research, and my co-chair, the Honorable Lieutenant Governor Nancy Dahlstrom, for all the work leading up to this event, and to all of you for seeing and supporting and celebrating innovative research and researchers that drive economic growth and development. In 2014, SCORE created the Alaska Innovators Hall of Fame to celebrate and honor outstanding individuals who put Alaska on a map as leaders in innovation and contribute to Alaska's growing culture of innovation. This extends to historic inventions and innovations that are not uniquely attributable to a single person, but to a community of persons. Likewise, it recognizes and celebrates inventions that are not just timely, but are in fact, as we'll learn momentarily, timeless. I'm honored to continue this tradition of recognition by conferring this year's award to Alaska Heritage Center for the historic invention of the gut seal parka. In a few minutes, Tiffany Tukiakoff will be receiving the award on behalf of the center, who in turn represents multiple indigenous groups in Alaska that have preserved and shared an innovation that's rich in history, tradition, and contemporary importance. In her letter of support for this award, Dr. Ellen Carley, conservator of the Alaska State Museum and a scholar of Native materials, and a person who has collaborated with dozens of Alaska Native artists and culture bearers, elegantly linked the historical practices of Alaska Native peoples to the tangible impact of innovation that we celebrate tonight. Gut garments and the specialized stitching techniques that bind them allowed survival, and it provides a direct connection to indigenous traditions and beliefs. The technique itself represents an act of cultural resilience that extends beyond clothing and to cultural heritage. It links the people and the past to the present and the future. As noted in the application packet, an Imarnan might appear strange to modern eyes. The thin, translucent material appears brittle and delicate. It might look like a poor alternative to today's high-tech synthetic rain gear. To some people, a garment from animal innards might even seem grotesque. But a closer examination of this ancient technology gives a glimpse of remarkable indigenous ingenuity. The pattern, seaming, stitching, and decoration of a gut parka are also clues to its cultural attribution. They also represent a tangible impact on the quality of life and the welfare of the people of Alaska. Like a good researcher, the more I learned about this, the more I wanted to learn and appreciate. An award of this caliber is designed to elicit exactly that kind of response, a sense of awe, a sense of wonder, a sense of curiosity. And with that, it is with the highest level of respect, admiration, and gratitude that I concur with the SCORE Selection Committee in its decision to recognize the Gut Seal Parker for induction in the 2025 class of the Alaska Innovators Hall of Fame. Tiffany, if you could please join me, that would be awesome. The podium is yours.
Good evening. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Tiffany Tudiakoff. I am Dena'ina and Yupik. I'm originally from Alexander Creek, which is about 23 miles northwest of Anchorage, at the bottom of Mount Susitna, or Sleeping Lady. I am okay. I actually don't have the clicker. Sorry, I don't know. I did not get checked out on advancing the slides. Green. The big one. Okay, awesome. So back to what I was saying. I am vice chair of the board for the Alaska Native Heritage Center. I also own Future Elder, which is a full-service brand marketing and communications firm. We've been in business for about 22 years, or I've owned it for 10 years. We've been in business for about 22 years, formerly known as Northwest Strategies. And so my role here today is to thank you for this recognition on behalf of the Alaska Native Heritage Center. Just catch up here. I didn't create these slides, so I'm not going to read the bullet points, don't worry, but I will give you a little bit of background on the Alaska Native Heritage Center for those of you who have not visited. The Alaska Native Heritage Center is the only statewide living cultural institution dedicating to advancing all Alaska Native cultures. We are guests on the native village of Eklutna, on the land of native village of Eklutna, situated in the traditional territory of the Dena'ina Athabascans. The Heritage Center is a gift to our local community where locals and visitors alike can experience our cultures and traditions and learn about our history. What's more, it's a gathering space for Alaskans to connect and find strength and resiliency in the power of our shared values and ways of life. You can see this progressively gets a little bit more wordy. So, seal gut parka. While Alaska Native peoples have countless innovations, this one in particular is so incredibly notable. The seal gut parka is a flexible, lightweight, packable garment that keeps the elements at bay, keeping you dry, warm, and ready to take on challenging environmental conditions. The materials utilized for these garments derive from animals whose inner organs are readily available in the Arctic, such as the bearded seal, walrus, bear, northern fur seal, stellar sea lion, Dall sheep, and beluga whale. So while the seal gut parka is actually pretty well known, we actually utilize intestines from a number of different land and sea animals. Gut clothing and other utilities made from animal intestines have been integral to the survival for many of our coastal cultural groups. Oops, back. There we go. While the production of these materials have been in decline for many years, primarily due to colonization, the practice and use is being actively revitalized. As an embodiment of a deep connection between people and the environment, gut sewing deserves recognition for its role in maintaining cultural practices that link generations. In closing, while I did not wear a seal gut parka this evening, I can attest to our commitment to never waste any part of an animal. Today I'm wearing sparkly seal gut earrings made by wonderful Unangan Koyakan and Inupiaq artist Danielle Larson, proof that even the stuff left on the cutting room floor has a purpose. Kuyana, thank you for this award. We really appreciate it.
We didn't get the picture, and now we're going to get the picture. Okay? That's good. That's good.
Well, exciting. We are tallying the votes, and we are very close to announcing the winner, which we promise we will do before 8 o'clock. But we have an opportunity here to get a little update from the legislature. We have a friend of economic development, a friend of innovation that recently ran for office and was successful. I'm really pleased that we have all Alaskans, but especially those that are focused on economic development, have a strong friend in the legislature now in Representative Kai Holland. So we've asked Kai Holland to give us a brief update while the judges finish their tallying. So please give a warm welcome to Representative Holland.
Well, good evening. Am I on here? Thank you. So good evening. I'm Kai Holland. I'm from House District 9. This is the area in South Anchorage, the hillside area that would include the area, if you're familiar with the Flat Top Trailhead, Glen Alps. It also goes north to Basher, but then heads south to Bear Valley, the Rabbit Creek area, and then down to Whittier, and covers a really interesting district that I grew up in originally. A year ago, I was here with the Innovation Summit. I had no idea that I would be doing something like this and coming back on the other side of the table to do this work. But I do want to start off and begin with kind of one main job I need to do at the moment, which is one of the activities that we do each year with the innovation ecosystem is we have a meeting usually right before the Innovation Summit to talk about when we'll be doing the Entrepreneurship Week each fall and use that as a kickoff and use this event as a time to save the date. So we did have a meeting this morning at our 1 Million Cups. The Entrepreneurship Week this year will be moved up 1 week to the last week of September. I think it's the 29th through October 2nd or 3rd at this fall. Entrepreneurship Week, sometimes in the past referred to as Startup Week, is really the kickoff of our startup ecosystem programs. We help use the week, which usually has close to 60 events. We've had more in the past to bring together people from around the state in their local communities, but in events that help build up the startup ecosystem. And this fall's program will be like the past, where we'll be looking for leaders in different communities. Usually we've had 10 or 12 communities that have a program there. And we begin to help entrepreneurs, people like Gabriel that you saw a little bit ago, and others that have a dream, have an idea, and we help them learn about the different tools and programs that are available for them to take those ideas to me, it's really important to recognize that what we see going on tonight is an example of entrepreneurs who really are taking a passion and interest and turning that into a business. We didn't hear tonight about business plans. We didn't hear about banks. We didn't hear about investors. What you saw tonight are people that are trying to solve a problem. They're trying to develop a solution and validate it, and it's a great opportunity. So with that, please do keep that in mind for the last week of September. If you're looking for more calendar information about events, the calendar that we have at Alaska version 3 or AKV3 provides a Google startup calendar where you can find out about all these events. And I just want to make one more shout out. You heard it earlier mentioned about 1 Million Cups, which happens every Wednesday at 10 a.m. This program's been going on for about 12 years. It's one of our front doors to people that are trying to figure out, I've got an idea, what do I do next? And we create a platform. It's hybrid now with both meetings in Anchorage as well as online for people to be able to share their idea in a couple of minutes and learn about resources, connections, and help to take our next step. So the legislature, I'll take just a moment to talk about this. It is fundamentally this work I've been doing for 10 years that ultimately got me interested in running for the legislature. There's certainly some key issues that kind of kicked my butt and said I'd better look at this in terms of education, benefits, the Cook Inlet energy issues. But at the end of the day, I decided that the thing that was going to get me into this race and that was going to make me motivated to do well in this was the opportunity to help take the question I started asking about 4 years ago, what's next, Alaska? And ask that question in more venues and encourage more people to think about what is next. And that question motivated me, it motivated hundreds of people over the last 4.5 years to dig into what is our next economy going to look like? What are we going to do to create the opportunities, the jobs, the businesses that will keep our young people here, that will be the growth opportunities in the future? And for those of us that are here tonight and seeing these companies, it's easy to see what's next. You're seeing companies that are coming up with bold solutions to creating new economic opportunity, both in rural Alaska and urban Alaska. You're seeing companies that are creating solutions in Alaska that have purpose and value across the world. And we keep showing this over and over again. I'm excited about what is happening in Alaska and what we can be doing. Sometimes we talk about entrepreneurship and it's about, can we get something started? And my main point is always, we don't have to start this. We need to fuel it and accelerate it. So I got into this election, and the work I'm doing in the legislature is fundamentally in everything I do around the question of how are we creating new innovation opportunities for Alaskans. If we're working with the marine systems for pollution control in the cruise ships, I'm looking for how do Alaskans build those sensors and do that monitoring. If we're looking at contracts for marketing of our seafood, I'm asking how are Alaskans doing that work. If we're looking at our energy problems and renewables, I'm asking how are we creating Alaskan business opportunities for that. So I'll be continuing to do that. I sit on a couple different committees, but the main bills I'm working on right now are fundamentally looking at how do we build the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Alaska? How do we build the innovation support in Alaska so that that question about what's next Alaska is one that we have an answer to and the one that we're excited and motivated to move into that future that we have. So I'd love to dive into the weeds, but I think the judges are back. So I think it's time for me to let that drum roll begin to find out who won tonight. Thank you all for a few minutes of your time. Please do reach out. Jacqueline Summers is also here waving her hand. She's been helping with a lot of the Alaska version 3 work. If you're interested in connecting with us and learning more about our programs, she's a resource. But you can also contact me through the legislature at Kai Holland, representative for House District 9. Love to get your feedback and help on what we can do to strengthen the ecosystem for startups. Thanks.
Thank you, Representative Holland. Let's get our contestants up here, please, on the stage. We have the results are in, and we're going to do this before on time. On time, yes, that's what we're going to do. I guess it's my chance to I also want to thank Alaska Airlines for sponsoring this. Casey Hostetler, who always is with us, was ill today. Yesterday we learned that. And I just want a big shout out to Huckleberry, who wasn't going to MC, but did an outstanding job of MCing this event. So thank you, Huckleberry. Yes.
This is all you. You started us out, you started us off.
All right. So we have two categories. We have the People's Choice and the Judge's Choice. And since I'm a guy of the people, I'm going to announce that award. And we can all hold in our own minds which award we think is more important. Because this year, the people and the judges, well, maybe I won't say that. I'll just wait till I don't want to give anything away. So I would just say the People's Choice Award goes to Swoop.
Okie doke. Now, the Judge's Choice Award is, drum roll please, Remote Hands. Woo! Nice job, guys. And an excellent job to all of the entrepreneurs, and thank you for you all coming tonight. Let's take a photo and then let's call it a night, shall we? Cheers. Bravo. Thanks, everybody.